All right, picture the scene. It's Saturday morning, the sun is out, the grass is perfect, but you're sweating.
We've all been there.
You're standing on the tee box of a really tight par 4. There's water all down the right, a dense, ugly forest on the left.
The classic pressure cooker.
Exactly. You reach into your bag, your hand hovers over the driver, but then you hesitate, you pull back, and you grab the 3-wood.
The quote-unquote safety play.
Right. You tell yourself, I'm playing smart, I'm playing for position, this is tactical.
Or at least that's the story we tell ourselves.
It is.
Yeah.
But here's the uncomfortable question we're asking today, and I want you, listening, to be really honest with yourself. Do you actually have a plan for that 3-wood?
A real plan.
Yeah, do you have a track record that proves it's safer? Or are you just hoping that by swinging a smaller club, the golf gods will, show you some mercy?
It's almost always the latter, isn't it? It's hope disguised as strategy.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are stripping away all the swing mechanics. We're not talking about shallowing a shaft or hip rotation.
No complex technical drills today.
None of that. We're looking at the mental architecture of the game. We've got these incredible insights from a golf coach, Henrik Jentsch, specifically his blueprint for the 2026 season.
And we're going to focus on one concept that might just save your scorecard, even if it hurts your ego a little bit.
And honestly, it probably should hurt your ego.
It should. Jentsch is a coach out of Mulheim, works with elite players, and his approach is fascinating. He basically splits the game into 2 buckets: physical ability and what he calls non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. I love that term. It sounds so intense, like it's something a Navy SEAL would say, not a golf coach.
Right?
So before we get into the specific rule for today, let's define that, because usually when I go to a coach, I want to fix. I want to stop slicing.
You want 20 more yards.
I want 20 more yards. But Jentsch is pivoting to something else here.
He is, and this is such a crucial distinction for anyone trying to get better. Jentsch says, look, your physical talent, your actual ability to hit the ball, it fluctuates.
Oh, absolutely. It's volatile.
It's completely volatile. You wake up, your back's stiff, your timing's off. That's just normal. But a non-negotiable is a behavioral standard. It's a hack to lower your score that requires 0 athletic ability.
Wait, 0 athletic ability?
None. It is all about decision-making discipline. It's a rule you follow regardless of how you feel or how you're swinging that day.
So it's kind of like a firewall for your game.
Yeah.
A code of conduct.
That is the perfect analogy. He uses that exact phrase. Think of it like a diet. If you say, I'm trying to eat healthy, that's a wish. It's vague.
And it falls apart the second you see a pizza.
Exactly. But if you say, I am vegan, that is a non-negotiable. You don't stand in the grocery store debating the steak. The decision is already made.
It removes that decision fatigue.
Yeah.
You're not standing over the ball having an argument with yourself.
Completely. And in golf, we know decision fatigue leads to doubt, and doubt just kills the golf swing. So Jentsch is building this code of conduct for the course.
And it's for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Not just pros.
Doesn't matter if you're trying to break 100 or break par. The code is about eliminating those catastrophic errors that happen when our ego takes the wheel.
Okay, so Jentsch has a whole list of these for his players, but today we're zooming in on non-negotiable number 2.
Yeah.
And this is the one that really exposes the flaw in how most of us think about strategy.
It definitely stung when I first read it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I am guilty of this almost every single round.
It's the rule about the layup. And it's phrased so simply, it's almost deceptive. If you're not hitting driver, you must hit the fairway.
If you're not hitting driver, you must hit the fairway. On the surface, that sounds, well, obvious. Like, isn't that always the goal?
Yeah, why does this need to be a rule?
Right.
You would think it's obvious, but let's unpack the logic here, because this is where it gets really interesting. When you decide not to hit driver, when you pull out that 3-wood or hybrid, you are making a transaction.
Okay.
You are voluntarily selling something.
I'm selling distance. I'm giving up yardage.
Right. Depending on your swing speed, you're giving up 30, 40, maybe 50 yards. You are accepting a much longer approach shot. Now, why would you make that trade? What are you buying?
I'm buying safety. I'm buying the short grass. I am trading all that distance for precision.
That is the contract. You give up yardage, you get accuracy in return. But here's the problem Jentsch sees constantly with amateurs.
Let me guess. They don't get what they paid for.
They sign the contract, they pay the price in yardage, but they don't get the goods. They pull the 3-wood to play it safe, and they still slice it into the trees.
And that is the absolute disaster scenario.
He calls it the ultimate strategic failure. I like to call it the double penalty.
Walk us through the math on the double penalty, because I think we just gloss over how bad this actually is for our score.
Okay, let's look at two scenarios. Scenario A, you hit the driver, you slice it into the rough, you're 250 yards down there, but you've got a bad lie. Not great.
But you're closer to the hole.
You're closer. Scenario B, you hit the 3-wood because you're trying to be safe. You make a bad swing, you slice it into the rough anyway.
Uh-oh.
Now you have the exact same bad lie, but you're 40 or 50 yards further back.
You've lost the distance, and you still have the penalty of the rough.
You have gained absolutely nothing and lost everything. You paid for insurance, but the insurance company went bankrupt. If you're going to be in the rough, you'd much rather be in the rough with a wedge in your hand, not a 6-iron.
That is a brutal realization. Because I think so many of us do this. We see the trouble, we get scared, and we grab the smaller club, not because we trust it, but because we're afraid of the driver. It's an emotional decision, not a strategic one.
That is the absolute crux of it. Jentsch says there is no excuse for this. If you club down, execution becomes mandatory. If you can't guarantee the fairway with that shorter club, then you have no business hitting it.
So what's his advice then?
He says you might as well smash the driver and take your chances.
Smash the driver and take your chances. I mean, it sounds reckless, but mathematically.
Mathematically, it's actually the smarter play if your safe club isn't actually safe.
Wow. It really challenges the ego, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We all like to think we're these great course managers.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing smart, like the pros on TV. But a pro lays up because they know, statistically, definitively, they will hit the fairway with that club.
And we lay up because we're just hoping not to screw up.
And those are two fundamentally different mindsets.
Okay, so this brings us from the philosophy to the reality. Because it's easy for us to sit here and say, just hit the fairway.
Sure.
If I could just hit the fairway on command, I wouldn't be paying for golf. People would be paying to watch me play golf. It's hard. So how do we actually make sure the safety club is truly safe?
This is where Jentsch shifts from the classroom to what he calls the test kitchen.
I love that metaphor. It makes me feel like I'm cooking up something good instead of just sweating on a rubber mat.
He treats the driving range not as a gym where you just, heave weights, but as a laboratory. You need to test your ingredients. Find out what actually works, not what you think works.
And he has a specific drill for this, right?
Yeah.
The 3-ball fairway challenge?
Yes. This is the drill he uses to certify whether a club is even allowed to be a non-negotiable option. If a club can't pass this test, it stays in the bag on tight holes.
It's banned.
It is effectively banned from the tee box until it passes inspection.
Okay, so talk me through the setup. I'm at the range. I've got my bucket of balls. What am I doing?
First, you have to create pressure because the range is a lie. It's wide open, perfectly flat, no consequences. So you pick 2 flags or 2 markers out there and create an imaginary fairway.
And how wide are we talking?
Start with something reasonable, maybe 30 yards wide. That's a pretty generous fairway. Then you pick 3 non-driver clubs, maybe a 3-wood, a hybrid, and a 4-iron. These are your safety candidates.
We're contenders.
The contenders. Now, the rule is simple but infuriating. You have to hit the first club into that gap 3 times in a row.
Consecutively.
Consecutive.
So if I hit 2 perfect shots, dead center, feeling good, and then I just pull the third one a little bit left.
Back to 0. You start over with that club.
Ugh, I can already feel my blood pressure rising. That third ball is terrifying.
That is the whole point. He is synthetically recreating the pressure of that first tee. If you don't care about the outcome, you're not training, you're just exercising. Forcing the restart makes you care. Suddenly you have something to lose.
And what happens once you get 3 in a row? Do you graduate?
Then you narrow the fairway. His goal for his elite players, and this is part of those 2026 goals, is to get to a U.S. Open-style fairway.
Oh, come on.
We're talking 15 yards wide.
15 yards. That's a hallway. That's a cart path.
It is incredibly tight.
Yeah.
But imagine the psychological armor you build if you pass that test. If you know for a fact that you can hit your hybrid into a 15-yard gap 3 times in a row on command.
How do you feel on that tight par 4 then?
You feel bulletproof. You aren't guessing anymore. You aren't hoping to hit the fairway. You know you have a tool for the job.
And on the flip side, the drill is a truth serum. You might find out that you cannot hit your 3-wood into that gap to save your life.
Which is a really valuable thing to learn on a Tuesday evening at the range, not on Saturday morning with money on the line.
Right. So if the 3-wood fails the test, it's not a safety club.
It's a danger club. It's an imposter.
An imposter club. I think I have about 12 of those in my garage. But this brings up a funny scenario. What if I go to the range, I do the drill, and I fail with everything? What if I can't hit the 3-wood, the hybrid, or the 4-iron 3 times in a row into that gap.
That is the come to Jesus moment. Jentsch's logic would say that if you have 0 reliable layup clubs, then you have no strategic advantage in laying up. You're gambling either way.
So in the short term, what do I do?
In the short term, hit the driver. Just send it. Because if you're going to miss, you might as well miss long. But the long-term answer is you stay in that test kitchen until you find one club that works, even if it's a 7-iron.
A 7-iron off the tee on a par 4?
Ah.
Oh, the ego. That is a tough pill to swallow. My buddies would laugh at me.
Let them laugh. While they're looking for their safe 3-wood shots in the trees, you're in the fairway. You hit 7-iron, another 7-iron, and you're putting for birdie.
While they're punching out sideways.
Exactly. Who's the better golfer in that moment?
It really reframes what good golf even means, doesn't it? We are obsessed with highlight reel shots, the 300-yard bomb.
Of course.
But Jentsch is basically arguing that competence is defined by your floor, not your feeling.
Which brings us to one of my favorite takeaways from all of this. He says, strategy without capability is just wishful thinking.
Wow. Say that again?
Strategy without capability is just wishful thinking. You can look at a course map and say, the smart play here is a 220-yard draw. Great strategy. But if you can't hit a 220-yard draw, it's a terrible decision.
You're playing a video game version of yourself instead of the real you.
Exactly. You have to play the golfer who showed up that day.
This brings up an interesting point about equipment, too. We'd spend hours getting fitted for drivers, spin rates, launch angles.
Oh, yeah, all the data.
But who gets fitted for a fairway finder?
Almost no one. And it's a huge blind spot. I mean, think about the modern 3-wood. It's designed by the manufacturer to go far. It has a hot face, a long shaft. It's basically a mini driver.
So the tool we're grabbing for safety is actually built for power.
It creates a complete conflict of interest. Jentsch's drill might just reveal that your 3-wood is totally wrong for the job you're asking it to do. Maybe you need more loft, like a 5-wood. Maybe a shorter shaft.
That's a huge insight. If its only job is to lay up, I don't care if it goes 230 or 215. I care if it goes straight.
You'd trade 15 yards of distance for hitting that 15-yard gap every single time.
Every time. So this non-negotiable concept, it actually bleeds into how you should build your bag.
It forces you to look at every club and ask, what is your job? Are you here to score, or are you here to save me from a big number?
I want to circle back to the mental side of that drill, the 3-ball challenge.
Yeah.
You said it simulates pressure, but does it change how we think over the ball?
Yes, this is so key. When you are under that kind of pressure to hit a specific target, you stop thinking about swing mechanics.
No, interesting.
You stop thinking, is my left wrist flat? Am I clearing my hip? And you just start thinking, put the ball between those flags.
It shifts you from an internal focus to an external focus.
Which is how every athlete performs at their best. You don't think about your elbow mechanics when you're throwing a piece of paper into a trash can. You just look at the can and you throw.
You just get target-oriented.
Jentsch wants you to find that club you trust enough to just look at the target and swing.
So if a listener really takes this to heart, they adopt non-negotiable number 2, what does their game look like a year from now?
It looks boring. Wonderfully, beautifully boring. Less scrambling, less panic, fewer penalty strokes. You're just playing from the short grass more often.
Your scores go down.
Your scores go down because you're eliminating the double and triple bogeys that come from those failed layups.
Boring golf is good golf.
It is. And honestly, it's more fun. There is nothing more frustrating than trying to do the right thing and getting punished for it anyway. It feels like a betrayal.
Right. I did the right thing. Why am I in the trees?
When you align your strategy with your actual proven capability, not your fantasy capability, the game starts to feel fair again.
That phrase, proven capability versus fantasy capability, that really sticks with you.
It's the difference between a 15 handicap and a 10. The 10 handicap doesn't always hit it better. They just know what they can't do, and they respect that boundary.
So before we wrap up, he calls this non-negotiable number 2. Does he hint at what number 1 or number 3 might be?
He does. He implies there's a whole system. He's building a comprehensive mental framework. But he starts with number 2, the layup, because it's the low-hanging fruit for scoring.
It's the quickest way to stop bleeding strokes.
Exactly. You don't need to change your swing to fix this today. You just need to change your mind.
So for everyone listening, itching to get out there this weekend, let's summarize the action plan.
The lesson is, the layup is a contract. If you don't hit driver, you must hit the fairway. If you break that contract, you've failed twice. The tool is the 3-ball fairway challenge.
Be the chef in the test kitchen. Find that one club, even if it's a 6-iron, that you can trust. That's your non-negotiable club.
And if you don't have one that passes the test,
Then hit the driver. At least you'll be closer to the hole when you're hacking it out of the cabbage.
I love it. Simple, harsh, but effective.
The truth usually is. Huge thanks to Henrik Jentsch for these insights. It's amazing how much depth there is in such a simple decision.
The deepest dives always come from the simplest questions.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Next time you are standing on that tee box, staring down a narrow fairway, and you reach for the 3-wood to play it safe, ask yourself this. Are you actually making a strategic choice for precision? Or are you just afraid of the driver? Because if you can't guarantee the fairway with that 3-wood, you're not playing a strategy.
Yeah, I'm just playing a fantasy.
And the scorecard knows the difference. That's it for this deep dive. Go find your go-to club, and we'll see you next time.